Hi guys, this is Connie. Back for some more Connie reads for today's chapter on the Dogs of Winter. This is chapter 43, titled The Woman in the Hat. In the far north of the borderlands where the wild pig had lived, we came across a trail of blood glowing in the light of the full moon. The blood made me uneasy. The blood trail made the dogs crazy with excitement. They ran and ran, their noses pressed to the ground, smoke in the lead. What if one of the others trailed this blood too? I knew we were far from their territory, but that didn't mean they wouldn't venture this far, like us. The pack stopped at the edge of a stream. They searched up and down the banks for the blood trail. I trotted up next to Smoke. "Let's go back," I said. "No, Malchik." I growled hard. "I said..." Moon yipped and bounced across the creek. The rest of the pack streamed behind her and disappeared into the woods beyond the moonlight. Rip pawed my leg and panted with excitement. Okay, I said. By the time I found the dogs, it was over. I lowered myself one more time. I gasped. The woman had drawn the grass and the stream and the blue sky and the flowers and the brushy brush with 3 black noses peeking out. The woman's hand froze. She looked all around. "Is someone there?" she whispered. I held my breath and kept very still. The birds sang. A squirrel scolded me for being in his tree. The woman sighed. She put her picture and her color sticks and her wooden stand back in her black bag. She folded up her stool and looked around the small meadow one last time. And then, humming a little tune, she walked back toward the Ferris wheel park. I dropped to the ground. The dogs wiggled from under the brush and danced with relief as they always did that I had come down from where they could not follow. "Did you see?" I asked them. "Did you see what was in that box?" The dogs stretched and yawned. I hugged myself. "Oh, I know it wasn't food, but it was amazing. It made something beautiful." The woman came back the next day and the next, always in the late afternoon. I waited for her in the tree, and I watched. Sometimes she drew the light on the stream. Sometimes she drew the dying flowers. Always she hummed while she drew. My fingers itched to draw too. How I had loved to draw when I was just a little boy. I drew the stories my mother read me from the book of fairy tales. I remember drawing to pass the time when my mother left me alone after Babushka Inya died. I remembered drawing on any little scrap of paper I could find during those long, cold, and lonely nights before he came. How long had it been since I had held a pencil in my hand? On the 3rd day, the woman appeared again, and as always she wore her big hat and her skirt with flowers. She set up her stool and her stand and set about drawing. After a time, I saw something from the corner of one eye. Lucky crept toward the woman on his belly. His eyes were fixed on a plastic bag next to her chair. I sniffed. Something wonderful rested in that bag, and Lucky meant to steal it. My heart hammered in my chest. I hissed at Lucky. The woman stopped and looked around. The woman went back to humming her tune and drawing a squirrel chattering in a tree. Lucky eased forward, his tongue flicking his nose. He stretched his neck as far as it would go and pulled back his lips. "No!" I shouted from the tree. The woman jumped up from her stool. Her eyes darted from Lucky to me. "Oh!" she gasped. Lucky flattened his ears against his skull and rolled his eyes apologetically. Then he whirled and shot into the underbrush. The woman looked up at me, her eyes wide and blue. Her hair was white beneath the wide brim of her hat. I dropped out of the tree and crouched in front of her. Her wrinkled face went white. Her mouth opened and closed. I could not bear to hear her cry, "It's a demon," or "Get away." We locked eyes. Her face flushed. Her eyes softened. As I dashed after Lucky, I heard her call, "Boy! Boy!" I ran and ran, my feet just skimming the grass. I flew across our stream and burst into our meadow. I wrestled Lucky to the ground and play nipped at his ears. His eyes danced with relief. Me, I said to Lucky and the rest who gathered around her tails wagging. She saw me! And that's the end of chapter 43. Be careful with that and enjoy. Please and thank you, and I will see you for the next installment later. Have a great one. Bye.